Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Now, welcome to my Act 2 video on Arcane. So you guys really actually enjoyed the Act 1 video I did, so thank you very much for that. If you enjoy the videos in general, please do throw a like on it. And obviously, as I said in the first one, this comment section is a spoiler zone. If you have not watched it, obviously, why are you watching an Act 2 video? But obviously avoid the comment section if you don't want to get spoiled too much. Anyway, Act 2 obviously started with a time skip. Now, the one thing, maybe I missed it, I don't know. They didn't, like, to some people who don't know the world of League of Legends, maybe it was a bit confusing, because I don't think there was a 5 years later or 10 years later. Maybe that's something they could have done. To us who love League and know the universe already, we knew there was going to be a time skip, because Powder and Vi are not the ages that their champions are in the game, and by all the marketing, we will see them become basically their champion design. So it was a time skip, and obviously we've seen technological advances in Piltover of the Hex Gates and all of that, and that's really cool. A lot of people have said Act 2 obviously felt a little bit slower paced than Act 1, and all I would say to it is I still loved it, and it's still insanely high quality. And what I would say is, yes, it is slower paced, but I think because, from my understanding, Act 1 you can kind of have it at its own pace. You know, it's the brand new beginning of a show, and it's that age of, like, their youth, and it's like the big events that leads up to the traumatizing event at the end of Act 1. We now got the big time skip, and I think that is it for time skips. I think there won't be a time skip moving forward into Act 3, so therefore the pacing is going to be different. If you kind of compare the pacing of Act 1 as 3 episodes, you'll have to compare it to Act 2 and 3 combined for the same kind of pacing. And I think that's completely fine and fair, and a lot of obviously setting up has happened, you know, in Act 2. What I will say is I don't watch the previews to the upcoming episode because I know I'm going to watch it anyway, and I like to kind of speculate without being hinted or tease things that I just want to experience for the first time watching it. But obviously in Act 2, a lot happens when it comes to the technology with Jace and Victor. Obviously Victor, we learn, is dying. And, you know, there's a difference if you know the champions in League versus if you're just watching the show and you know nothing about League. We obviously know, unless they weirdly do something, that this is not canon, but I think it is canon in the lore of League of Legends. Victor obviously will survive, and the Victor that we know in League of Legends is, well, we saw his arm. That was a big thing when it was on the table. We saw Vi's gauntlet, and we saw Jace's robot arm. Victor's robot arm that has the laser. We know he obviously turns into a bit of a crazy revolutionist guy, all about the power of Zorn and all of that. So clearly, again, he is on the route now. He ended it to go see Singed, the champion also in League, who actually looks a little bit more like Singed now. And, you know, we learned about all the mutation and the experiments and combining Singed's mind with the power of Hex Tech, because Jace said you need to do anything you can to try and survive. Well, now you're going to put that in the hands of Singed. So that is where, because like I did say, maybe that's where obviously Chemtech is going to be in existence. And some people said Chemtech was already a thing. I don't think so. Like, there's the purple goo, which they call something different. And to me, Chemtech is going to be the combination of, and I'm very bad with colours, but to me, like, wouldn't it be like, is the Hex stuff is all blue? Maybe it's purple, but bluish. And then obviously the purple goo, if you combine colours, I don't know, maybe green happens and there's Hex Tech or Chemtech. But clearly something's going to happen to Victor to basically make him become the half robot, which obviously Silco uses. We've seen robot technology in his goons. Victor's probably going to get a bit of a taste of that if we're going by his champion design in League, and obviously he'll have his robot arm. So a lot in Act 3. The one thing to say, I will, you know, sorry for the tangents, but we don't know if Season 1 of Arcane is going to wrap up the Piltover story. They haven't said. It might not. They might go, there's the end of it on a cliffhanger. Season 2 will be continuing Piltover's story. We have no idea where they're actually going to leave the show. They have got 3 more episodes. I got it wrong, by the way. There's only 9 episodes, not 10. And it's like, well, maybe, like, they're going to continue it. Who knows? I don't know. Because there's a lot to do in the last 3 episodes. You know, I could see them being able to finish the Silco storyline. That obviously you have Vi and Jinx. They have now finally found each other, and I would say it's a very powerful moment where Jinx held out that flare. That was just breathtaking cinematography and an animation. But obviously Jinx she's not Powder anymore, clearly. She is Jinx, and she is having a lot of mental breakdowns, and she's very confused, and she doesn't really know who to be with, what side, and will Silco's side win, because she's now practically Silco's daughter, or will Vi's side win? We all will see. But I would say Vi's character is very compelling to me. You know, she's very good. She was just locked away for years, because I was under the impression by Vi's character she's an enforcer type character. I thought the guy at the end of Act 1 took her away. She was going to go to like Enforcer Academy and voila. No. He took her away and just locked her in jail away from Silco's eyes, basically. And she's been there the entire time. Obviously, we saw the Vi gauntlet when we saw the Victor, so she will be getting her hands on that. And obviously, Jace had a lot of things in this episode, and I love Jace as a character. So when there were things that were going on with Jace, I was like, no, don't do that. It is a bit oof for me because I like Jace as a character. But obviously, Jace is the golden boy of Piltover. He's the inventor. He's the showman, really, to Victor. Like, Victor and him both have the brains for it. Maybe Victor's even a bit smarter than Jace, potentially. But Victor is not the people person. That's Jace. So he gets all the glory, he gets all the attention, and he even becomes a counselor, which obviously we saw one of the counselors, she has had this kind of big plan for Jace, what looks to be, and the plan is to replace Heimer with Jace. And obviously we end that storyline on Act 2 of Heimer being voted out of the council. And to me, that was... that really hurt me in a way, because I was like, Heimer built the city, and he is the voice of reason, and he has seen the horrors that magic can do, so obviously he has that innate fear. And again, it could go very bad. Well, let's be honest, we know it might go bad, because what Victor may become is what Heimer probably fears. But the fact that now Heimer is out of the council, a lot of his power will be gone. He'll probably still be respected by many people, but his actual council power has gone. Is going to be a very interesting dynamic, and I imagine in Act 3 there's going to be a lot to do with politics of Jace has made a mistake. Like, he's going to realise maybe the people around him are not the good people. Maybe they are actually part of the problem, and they are part of the villainy within Piltover and corruption, obviously, as we know. In the theatre scene, which, again, was that Jin performing as a young boy? Who knows? Might be. But yeah, like that, he was dealing with corruption right then and there. That should be a major red siren going off that these people are not the nicest of people, these councillors. And arguably, the nicest one, the most rooted one, the one that couldn't be corrupted was Heimer. And he's now gone. So a lot of stuff is obviously coming apart and then coming back together. Obviously, Caitlyn now is an enforcer. She's moved away from the luxury life of being one of the powerful families, and there's all that kind of drama of they don't want her there because they just see her as one of the rich family members. But she doesn't. She is genuinely wanting to be good, an enforcer. And again, as we know, the League of Legends knowledge, she does become sheriff. So the current guy that is sheriff, that is the title. They have specifically said that word, sheriff. We know Caitlyn will become that. Whether she becomes that in the last 3 episodes or not, it is to be seen. But we'll see, obviously, how that turns out. But, like, where will the show go from now, obviously? So we've had the massive fight, and we've had the massive, like, drama with Vi and Jinx know each other now, are alive officially. They've been together. There's confusion there. What's going to happen? Well, a lot of it might depend on Jinx's mind, obviously. If she kind of snaps back to be Powder a bit more, then... who knows? Maybe the side will vie and they will take down Silco together. But there's going to be a lot, I think, to pack into the last 3 episodes, to be honest. Because, again, we spoke in the Act 1 about Vander. The whole theory that he becomes Warwick. And obviously we've had a time skip and we've yet to see that. Now, what we did obviously see is Singed. He's in his lab. He is still experimenting. And obviously... there is still all the backstory that fits Vander becoming Warwick, of he got experimented on by Singed. And at the end of that factory exploding in Act 1, some people thought Singed died in the explosion. Well, clearly he didn't. He's alive. So to me, it's not the biggest stretch that he captured Vander because he was basically half dead, or even nearly dead, when he probably got holds of him. And Vander's probably been experimented on. That's the point. It's been 5 to 10 years of a time skip. That amount of time, he actually definitely could have become the monster of Warwick. by being experimented on by Singe. So we might even see that very soon, and that arguably, that is probably Singe's weapon. Like, as a defense of, if people start coming after me, I can release this monster. And obviously there could be an interesting dynamic of the girls working out. And maybe, again, we said in Act 1, maybe that will then be the tipping point for Jinx to snap a little bit back into powder, realising that is Vanda. That is where my mind is going with it. That's where I'm thinking that it could go. Other things that I'm excited about, obviously, as we mentioned, we saw Victor's robot arm laser thing. We've seen one of the Vi gauntlets. We haven't seen Jace's actual hammer, his hammer cannon. That will be an interesting time. I'm sure it's coming. They can't have Jace in the final act in probably a big battle. That's clearly that's the way that this is going to be going. Is now that Vi is going to be going back to Piltover with Caitlyn. Obviously, Caitlyn's very close to Jace. That's probably how they're going to link up. And Jace and, well, Vi is a fighter. She will not want to give up. She will continue to fight. And that's where I think she'll be given the gauntlets by Jace. And probably, let's be honest, Jace in the background has been tinkering and made his own hammer cannon thing. And that will clearly be coming in the series. So I expect there's going to be probably like a team up with Vi and Jace. Caitlyn as well. They probably try and go deal with Silco because now he is the big problem. And everything could be blown aside, potentially, of whatever happens to Victor. Or Victor and Singe now experimenting with this rune magic that they fully don't understand. They might corrupt it, obviously, with the purple goo stuff. And voila, you could be creating a really big mess. Maybe that's Victor in the end. And maybe they'll deal with Silco. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll all see the common threat is actually... Maybe it'll become Victor and they have to focus on him. We don't know, but all we do know is obviously Victor as the character becomes very crazy, half machine, has obviously his arm, and you know, he's trying to save his own life, which obviously clearly anybody would really try and do. But that's where the corruption of the purple stuff might come in, because it turns people into monsters. They don't recognize themselves. We saw that camp below, obviously, of all the tented people that have been using that stuff, and they become half monsters themselves. And, you know, that guy sold them out, you know. I don't actually remember what character that was, but clearly was somebody that knew Vi and Jinx growing up. And he was, like, corrupted himself, was really nice, came across lovely, and then was the same guy that told Silco where to find them for that purple stuff. So it clearly is addicting and changes people, that purple stuff. So if Victor starts taking that to feel better, because, again, it does definitely have healing or some type of healing properties, because when Vi was dying... That's what Caitlyn got. Caitlyn got the purple stuff to give to Vi, and she suddenly could fight. She was suddenly okay. She did a massive punch, and a whole thing comes down. So clearly, there is a healing type of property or something going on there, and that's definitely going to be linked with Victor, because he needs to be healed somehow. But it's incredibly a good show. So, yes, I do think it was a bit slower paced than Act 1, but I was expecting that. You know, I'm not expecting another time skip. There might be, who knows, there might be like another year later, but I'm really not expecting it. Like, maybe there could be a time skip of like the council now has moved on from Heimer. Maybe we'll see more corruption there, and obviously it should, in theory, from where we're seeing Victor now just approaching Singed, it's going to take a while for that Victor to become the Victor we know. That could be a year. That could be another 5-year time skip. It could be. You know, let's be honest. I've kind of said it on stream. Jace as a character, he's the one that doesn't look the most like his champion in League. Mainly because he hasn't bulked up yet. He hasn't hit the gym properly yet. You know, he's not like the Jace from League, where the others are quite similar to what they are in the actual game. So maybe there will be another time skip. Maybe that's where Jace will become a fighter and bulk up a bit, and then it is the Jace that we can recognise a bit more. But I don't think there's going to be another time skip personally. The only thing that I could see is then they have already planned a season 2, and they're not wrapping everything up in 3 episodes, and it'll be like, boom, it's going to continue in season 2. That's my only guess, literally. But I don't know. From everything that they've hinted at and everything that they've said, they haven't ever hinted at a season 2. I think they might do one, but there's a lot to wrap up in 3 episodes. That's all I will say. You know, you've got to kind of deal with the Vi and Jinx thing. You've got to deal with the Silco thing. You've got to deal with the Victor thing. Then the Piltover in general, the council corruption. Where's Jace going to end up? Because things might not go well for Jace moving forward. He might realise he's being betrayed in the background, and then something will come of that. There's a lot to do in, you know, what is basically 2 hours. Which is good. It's a long time. Like, it's a whole movie plus worth of, you know, time to go. So maybe they can do it. I just don't want it to feel rushed. And that isn't, you know, we're not even including the whole Warwick potential getting into it, because that's going to be insane if that actually does come true. So there's a lot to kind of look at and see. But again, the show for me is nearly faultless. The music in it is wonderful. The use of it, as I mentioned earlier, the flare scene with Jinx, I think was outstandingly powerful. And it's an animation. And that's the thing. Animations are just as good as live action. You know, like I said in the first episode of my review and predictions, you can do things in animation that you can't do in live action. Or you can try to do it in live action, but it's a bit too difficult. You know, to make it in live action, it's a bit of obviously editing that may not look quite right. Where in animation, you can do it because you're just animating it. And I think I 100% love that they went the animated route with Arcane. I do not think it would be nearly as good as a live action. Again, voice acting was all fantastic. And, you know, we obviously saw with Vanda gone, the Undercity has gone nuts in what we kind of probably expected. Vanda was keeping control. He was keeping the peace. And obviously that's kind of blown up into a very Joker-esque vibe is what I would say. You know, again, Jinx is the Harley Quinn of League of Legends. Silco, not so much the Joker, but it is kind of that vibe that there are some versions of the Joker that he has a club like this and he's always in the background like Silco. It's definitely got that vibe, and I'm sure, as like all shows do, they take inspiration from other medias or mediums of media, and you know, they've definitely leaned on the Harley Quinn Joker type vibe, I think, for this, because even Silco's appearance is somewhat Joker-like also, not like as in the clown, but the kind of skinny but still very dangerous vibe. A lot of people have said, and I did read, you know, will Silco become a League of Legends champion? He might already be one, which, you know, we never know. There might be a twist that he is a champion that we are just unaware. Who knows? You know, we were all saying Vanda, it makes the most sense, obviously, to become Warwick. Maybe Silco becomes Warwick. He also kind of fits. A gangster, maybe in this last 3 episodes, he's like, I'm done with all of this, I'm retiring. That would also fit. He also knows about the girls in the factory. He would have heard the crying. It a little bit fits there, but, you know, the whole hound thing that Vanda was literally known as the Hound of the Undercity or whatever. Obviously, it fits a lot better with Vanda, but you know, just don't discount Victor being some champion. Like, he's a very big character to be nobody. And if he is nobody in League, maybe he'll be a character. But I will say he doesn't have to be. You know, if Riot hopefully do deem Arcane as a success, they hopefully will be doing multiple seasons following different storylines. And not every cool character from those can be League of Legends champions. So I think the vibe that they've done it this time is that they're basing the series off characters. Like, there's 5 or 6. Like, that's a cool vibe. The other thing to kind of finally say is Echo, obviously. He will still be in this series, and pretty damn sure we know who he is. So the Fireflies, whatever they're called, the one with the mask, I'm pretty sure is Echo. For a couple reasons. Like, you can match Echo's adult outfit in League of Legends. You can actually match it a little bit to the head guy. But secondly, where would, in theory, Echo get his time power from? Well, obviously, with all the commotion that happened, the refined Hex gem, he got it. He left that battle with that refined Hex gem. So, clearly, we might see Echo as the time guy that we know. It's a Hex tech powered time machine weapon type thing. So it's very, to me, that is very likely to be Echo, because it would be very weird to have Echo as a boy. All of that stuff happens in Act 1. It would be very weird to never see him again in this show. So I think we still have seen him. I think it's that character, the head of the Fireflies, if that's their name. And I think in Act 3, maybe if Vian, Jace, and Caitlyn are teaming up, maybe that's when Echo comes in to help also. Maybe, you know, and that's where, again, there might have to be another time skip, because is Echo really going to go back to wherever he lives? And yeah, he might be smart, but is he going to really develop a time weapon in a day or 2 whenever the next episode would take place? Maybe there does need to be a year or 2 years, another time skip, maybe. So that would be quite interesting, because obviously it's going to take Vi also a little time to heal from her wounds, potentially. But yeah, very interesting. I might have missed some stuff, but this, as I said in the first one, it's not an organized video. This is me kind of just riffing on the series, talking about it, my expectations, and I absolutely love it. Like, I really do. And obviously, give your opinions down below. Again, I have heard some people that didn't enjoy Act 2 as much as Act 1, but as I said, I think Act 2 is the big setting up for the finale of Act 3. I think that's what it is, which makes sense. You know, not every episode can be go, 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 go. There has to be some setting up time, and I think that's what Act 2 was, which is, again, it was still fantastic. I loved it still. But that is going to be it for this little video. If you guys did enjoy and you've been enjoying the series and me talking about everything, please do throw a like on the video, comment down below. Please do let me know what you think of the series and let me know your predictions also. Do you think I'm right in anything? Do you think there's anything different that could happen? Do let me know. Because again, a lot of people say, where's Camille? Surely Camille should be around this. She should be, maybe. Again, Camille's backstory, if you don't know it, and obviously because of Arcane, we've all been reading up a little bit more on lore. Camille's family is a very wealthy family who are in the production of the hex crystals. That's their wealth, is that they mine and produce and sell the hex crystals. That's may even where Jace has been getting them from. We've heard, I believe, in Act 1, the surname that Camille has, but we've not obviously seen or heard about Camille herself. Because, again, reminder, Silco's goons are chopping off limbs and having robot stuff. Camille has got robot blade legs, so that's kind of in that world. So you never know. She might pop up. You know, maybe. But that's going to be it. If you guys enjoy, as I said, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power.